Every morning at a busy intersection in Tokyo, a high-stakes game of physics and biology unfolds. While humans are focused on their commutes, black-feathered observers are focused on the asphalt. They've learned something incredible. They place rock-hard walnuts precisely in front of car tires. They wait for the green light to crush the shell, and then, critically, they wait for the red light to safely retrieve their prize. This isn't just a clever trick, it's a masterclass in understanding human systems, timing, and cause and effect. For decades, we looked at birds and saw instinct. We were wrong. Modern neuroscience reveals that these feathered primates can solve complex, multi-step logic puzzles that would baffle a 5-year-old human child. In the animal kingdom, we used to think intelligence was a ladder, with humans at the top and primates just below. But crows have built their own ladder in a completely different part of the evolutionary tree. They don't just live in our shadows, they study us. They recognize individual faces, hold trials for their peers, and might even understand the concept of death. Welcome to a world where the smartest creature in your backyard isn't your dog or your cat, it's the bird watching you from the fence. Today, we're diving deep into the secret life of the Corvus genus, to see how they became the undisputed geniuses of the air. To understand how these birds became so smart, we have to look at their history, a saga of global domination that started 30 million years ago. While most bird species stayed confined to their native lands, the ancestors of the crow were born with a conqueror mindset in the islands of Australia and Oceania. From there, they staged an incredible transcontinental takeover. They hopped across archipelagos to Asia, swept through the forests of Europe, and eventually crossed the icy Bering Land Bridge into North America. Today, they are one of the most successful biological designs on the planet. You can find them in the freezing Arctic tundra, the scorching deserts of the Sahara, and the high-altitude peaks of the Himalayas. In North America, you're likely seeing the American crow or the massive common raven, a bird so large it's often mistaken for a hawk. In Europe, the landscape is split between the jet-black carrion crow and the distinct, gray-vested hooded crow. But despite their different outfits, they all share the same software. What's their secret? Total adaptability. Crows are the ultimate generalists. They don't wait for nature to provide, they find opportunities. They can digest almost anything, from insects and grain to roadkill and, famously, our leftovers. But it's not just their stomachs that adapted, it's their social structures. They moved into our cities because they recognized that humans are the ultimate resource. They didn't just survive the rise of human civilization, they exploited it, turning our concrete jungles into their own private empires. For over a century, science made a massive mistake. We assumed that because birds lack a neocortex, the thinking cap of the human brain, they were incapable of complex thought. We called them bird brains as an insult. But we were looking for a human architecture in an alien mind. Crows have evolved a completely different structure called the nidopallium. It's a masterclass in biological engineering. While our brains are large and spread out, a crow's brain is a masterpiece of miniaturization. Their neurons are packed with a density that rivals or even exceeds that of many primates. In a brain the size of a walnut, they have as many neurons as some monkeys with brains twice that size. This is what scientists call convergent evolution. It's as if nature found two completely different paths to reach the same goal. High-level intelligence. By weight, a crow's brain-to-body ratio is comparable to dolphins and great apes. But what does this alien hardware actually do? It allows for mental time travel. Crows can simulate the future. They can remember the past. They can even experience aha moments, sudden flashes of insight where they solve a problem not through trial and error, but through pure, abstract reasoning. They aren't just reacting to the world, they are modeling it in their minds, just like we do. You aren't looking at a simple bird, you're looking at a feathered supercomputer that's been optimized for 30 million years. In 2002, a New Caledonian crow named Betty did something that rewrote biology textbooks. Faced with a piece of meat at the bottom of a tube and only a straight wire to help her, she didn't give up. She wedged the wire into a crack, bent it with her beak to create a perfect hook, and fished out her prize. She didn't just use a tool, she manufactured one. In the wild, these birds are the only non-human species known to create standardized tool kits. They don't just grab any stick, they select specific materials, trim off the leaves, and shape the ends into hooks or serrated saws to extract grubs from deep inside trees. And here's the kicker. They pass these blueprints down through generations. It's a literal Stone Age culture, happening right now in the treetops. But it gets even more sophisticated. Crows understand the laws of physics better than most pets. In the famous Aesop's Fable experiment, researchers gave crows a pitcher of water with a floating treat just out of reach. The birds didn't just splash around. They systematically dropped stones into the water to raise the level. Even more impressively, they ignored floating objects like cork or hollow balls, choosing only heavy, solid stones. They understood the principle of displacement. This isn't trial and error, it's meta-tool use, the ability to use one tool to acquire another. In the animal kingdom, this level of cognitive complexity is shared only with chimpanzees and orangutans. When a crow looks at a problem, it doesn't see an obstacle, it sees a design challenge. If you think you're just an anonymous passerby to a crow, think again. Scientists at the University of Washington proved that crows don't just see humans, they see you. In a famous study, researchers wore specific rubber masks while trapping and banding crows. Years later, whenever anyone wore that specific, dangerous mask on campus, the crows would swarm, scream, and dive-bomb them. But here is the chilling part. Even crows that were never trapped, including the offspring of the original birds, joined the attack. The information had been culturally transmitted. They had literally held meetings to describe the enemy's face. They don't just remember a threat, they create a multi-generational blacklist. But it's not all about grudges. Crows are equally capable of gratitude. There are documented cases across the US and Europe of gifting. People who regularly feed crows often find strange treasures left behind. Earrings, polished sea glass, rusted bolts, or soda tabs. This isn't random. It's a social exchange. They recognize their allies and maintain friendships that can last decades. To a crow, the world is a complex map of individual personalities, some to be feared, and some to be rewarded. So, a word of advice. Be careful how you treat the birds in your neighborhood. They are recording your actions, they are sharing your description, and they never, ever forget. Crows are master deceivers. They understand that other creatures have minds of their own, and they know how to manipulate them. If a crow realizes it's being watched while hiding food, it will perform a fake cache, it will dig a hole, pretend to drop the food, and cover it up, all while secretly keeping the prize in its throat. Once the thief is gone, the crow flies to a secret location to hide it for real. This is called tactical deception, and in the animal kingdom, it's a sign of extreme intelligence. It requires imagining what someone else is thinking. But their social complexity goes even deeper, into the realm of the macabre. You may have seen it. A group of crows gathering in total silence around a fallen comrade. For centuries, humans called these crow funerals and thought they were mourning. But science has discovered a more pragmatic truth. These gatherings are actually high-level, crime scene investigations. The crows aren't just crying, they are analyzing. They are looking for clues. Is there a hawk nearby? A poison bait? A dangerous human? By studying the dead, they ensure the survival of the living. Yet, it's not all cold calculation. Crows form deep, lifelong bonds. Pairs stay together for decades, and they've been observed feeding elderly or injured members of their flock who can no longer hunt for themselves. They possess a rare combination of Machiavellian cunning and genuine social empathy. They live in a world of complex alliances, where knowing who to trust, and who to trick, is the difference between life and death. Perhaps the most human-like trait of the crow isn't their tools or their memory, it's their sense of fun. Crows are among the very few animals that engage in object play just for the sake of it. They've been filmed snowboarding down snowy rooftops on jar lids, repeatedly flying back up just to do it again. They tease dogs, play catch with pebbles, and mimic human speech not because they have to, but because they can. This playfulness is the ultimate sign of a high-functioning brain. It means they've mastered survival so effectively that they have surplus energy for curiosity and humor. As we move further into the 21st century, most wild animals are retreating from human expansion. But not the crow. They are leaning in. They are learning our bus schedules, memorizing our trash pickup days, and even using our cars as nutcrackers. They aren't just adapting to our world, they are co-evolving with us. In many ancient cultures, the crow was seen as a bridge between worlds, a messenger that knew more than it let on. Looking at the evidence today, those myths might not have been far from the truth. They are the silent observers of our civilization, recording our history from the treetops. So, the next time you walk out of your house and see a crow perched on a nearby lamp post, take a second to look back. Because one thing is now scientifically certain. It isn't just a bird sitting there. It's an intelligent mind, it's a long-term memory, and it is almost certainly making a judgment about you. The question is, what has it already learned? Thank you so much for watching. If you've discovered a newfound respect for these feathered geniuses, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We've got more deep dives into the secret lives of the world's most incredible creatures coming your way every week. Don't forget to share your own crow stories in the comments, we read every single one. See you in the next episode.